Many of us were raised with the idea that intelligence is a fixed genetic trait, a score assigned at birth that remains static through adulthood. But look at Albert Einstein. His early teachers labeled him a slow learner, believing he lacked the capacity to keep up with his peers. Thomas Edison faced the same dismissal. He was removed from school after instructors concluded he was unteachable and would never grasp complex concepts. These men didn't change their DNA. They leaned into specific daily routines that altered how their brains processed information, proving that cognitive capacity can be expanded through deliberate practice. To replicate this growth, grab a pen and paper. We are going to build a 6-step daily cognitive growth checklist that you can begin scheduling into your calendar immediately. Writing this list down is your first required action. It marks the transition from being a passive consumer of information to an active architect of your own cognitive development. Write down Step 1, 20 to 30-minute unplugged walk. Find a slot in your daily schedule right now and commit to it. This habit requires a total absence of external input. That means no phone, no music, and no podcasts. Most people spend their walks consuming external stimuli, which keeps the brain in a reactive state. By walking in silence, you force the brain to switch to internal thought generation and independent problem solving. You will likely feel a sense of boredom early on. This indicates that your brain is searching for an easy hit of information. Lean into that discomfort, as it is the moment your cognitive independence begins to grow. Add Step 2 to your list. Attempt problems independently before seeking help. Benjamin Franklin used this to master complex texts. He would read a passage, close the book, and then attempt to rewrite the entire argument from memory to find exactly where his understanding failed. This struggle creates the friction necessary for deep learning. Navigating through a mistake yourself builds a more durable neural path than simply looking up the answer the moment you feel stuck. Now, write down Step 3, daily analytical journaling. High IQ thinkers use writing to distill a chaos of many thoughts into a single, focused insight. Use these 2 prompts daily. What do I actually understand? And what is confusing me? These prompts force you to synthesize your knowledge. Instead of just archiving facts, you are training your brain to identify the gaps in its own logic. Move to Step 4. Explore one diverse topic weekly. Dedicate time to a subject completely outside your career or current interests. This forces your brain to build structural analogies between 2 seemingly unrelated fields. When you identify these cross-disciplinary connections, you increase your pattern recognition abilities. This allows you to process new, complex information more rapidly by linking it to existing mental frameworks. Next is Step 5. Teach what you learn. Memory functions like a muscle that strengthens with use. To lock in new information, find a friend or a colleague and verbally explain the core concepts you've just studied. The act of teaching forces you to organize information for someone else, which is the final mechanism required to convert short-term data into long-term intellectual capital. Finally, write down Step 6, schedule downtime. Historical high performers recognized the biological necessity of rest. Charles Darwin, for example, limited his intense work to about 4 or 5 hours a day, spending the rest of his time walking or resting. Effective cognitive rest involves 3 specific components: obtaining full sleep, getting direct sunlight, and periods of total boredom. Open your calendar once more. Block out a 1-hour window today specifically for this non-productive downtime. During these periods of boredom, the brain enters a recharge state where it consolidates the day's learning, turning new experiences into permanent knowledge. You now have a completed blueprint for expanding your cognitive capacity. These 6 steps move you from a static mindset to a growth-oriented one. Place this physical checklist where you will see it every morning, on your mirror or as your desktop background, to ensure these habits become your daily standard. To practice Step 5 right now, go to the comments. Pick the one habit from this list you will start today and explain exactly how you plan to implement it. Real intellectual growth doesn't come from the information you consume, but from the daily friction of how you choose to process it. It is time to start executing these steps today.